All right, so let's jump into a movie.
Yeah.
You might have missed this one.
Okay.
It's called Night of the Living Deb.
Okay.
We're going to be going
I'm intrigued.
deeper than just your usual movie reviews.
Okay.
We're going to be taking a deep dive
Okay.
into what makes this zombie flick tick
Sounds good.
and why it might deserve
Yeah.
a spot on your watch list.
Okay, cool.
Our source material for this deep dive
Right.
is a podcast called Underrated Gems,
Okay.
which sings this movie's praises.
Interesting.
It is fascinating how some films, even with potential,
Yeah.
can really just slip through the cracks.
Yeah, totally. They do.
So let's get into it.
Let's do it.
Just imagine this.
Okay.
You wake up after a wild night out,
Mm-hmm.
only to find yourself
Yeah.
smack dab in the middle of a zombie apocalypse.
Oh my gosh.
That's the hilarious premise of this horror comedy.
Classic.
Deb, our protagonist, has to navigate not just survival,
Right.
but maybe even a little romance
Oh, wow.
amidst the chaos.
That's interesting combo.
So, we've got this classic blend of zombies
Yeah.
and romance.
Yeah, for sure.
But what makes this film,
Mm-hmm.
rise above just the typical genre tropes?
Right, right. What elevates it?
The hosts of Underrated Gems, Sarah and Mike,
Okay.
argue that Night of the Living Deb strikes a perfect balance
Yeah.
between humor and horror.
Which, as we know, can be a tough feat.
Very tough.
Mm-hmm.
They point out that the movie doesn't take itself too seriously,
Right.
which makes it a refreshing departure
Yeah.
from the often dark and brooding tone
Yeah.
of many zombie movies.
Right.
So true.
It can be a little heavy sometimes.
The humor really injects a sense of fun
Yeah.
into the otherwise terrifying scenario.
Yeah.
It's like the film winks at the audience,
Yeah.
acknowledging the absurdity of it.
Yeah. Like a little self-aware nod.
And this lighthearted approach
Yeah.
might explain why it flew under the radar
Yeah, I bet.
for some viewers.
Yeah, maybe they just weren't expecting that. It's that kind of approach,
They weren't ready for it.
You go in with a certain mindset when you're watching a zombie film.
Right.
And so if it subverts those expectations,
Exactly.
yeah, you might not be receptive to it.
Sarah and Mike were especially impressed by Deb as a character.
Mm-hmm.
They found her relatable and endearing.
Okay.
They describe her as kind of a lovable train wreck.
Lovable train wreck. I like that.
Someone you can't help but root for,
Right.
even with all her flaws.
Okay, so interesting.
Because we've got this character
Yeah.
who's relatable, she's endearing,
Uh-huh.
even if she's a bit of a mess.
Yeah.
What else makes her so relatable?
Yeah, I'm curious, like, what specifically...
They highlight how she steps up
Oh, okay.
during the apocalypse,
Okay.
despite her initial awkwardness.
All right, so she kind of rises to the occasion.
Yeah, she does. It's
Intriguing.
like the situation forces her
Right.
to confront her fears and become a stronger version of herself.
Okay, so there's some character development there.
There is.
It's interesting.
And her love interest, played by Chris Marquette,
Okay.
adds to the charm.
All right.
Sarah and Mike raved about their chemistry,
Okay.
claiming it's one of the highlights of the film.
So we've got strong characters
Wow.
navigating this apocalyptic landscape.
Yes.
What else did they highlight?
They were huge fans of the dialogue.
The dialogue.
They praised its sharp wit
Mm-hmm.
and memorable one-liners.
Okay, give me an example.
They specifically mentioned this gem from Deb.
All right.
If I had known this was going to happen, I would skip the tequila.
Oh, that's great.
I love that line.
Yeah, it really captures that kind of
It does.
tone that we've been talking about.
It does.
That self-aware humor.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so they enjoyed the dialogue.
Mm-hmm.
Did they mention anything about the visual aspects?
Yeah.
Like the special effects, the cinematography?
They did mention that the makeup effects
Okay.
were top-notch.
All right.
And the gore, while present,
Mm.
was never excessive or gratuitous.
So they weren't going overboard with it?
No.
Okay.
It seems like the filmmakers were careful
Yeah,
not to let the horror overshadow the humor.
right. It's a tough balance.
It is.
Walking that line between, thrills and chills
Right.
without alienating your audience.
Right.
It sounds like they found that balance.
They did.
Yeah.
Anything else?
Now, here's an interesting tidbit.
Okay.
Sarah and Mike did acknowledge that the movie might feel predictable at times,
Okay.
particularly if you're a seasoned zombie aficionado.
Right. If you've seen it all.
Right.
Yeah.
But here's the twist.
Okay.
They actually argued that this predictability
Okay.
works in the movie's favor.
Interesting. So they're flipping it.
They are. That's a
Okay.
great question.
Yeah.
And honestly, it's something I'm eager to unpack further.
I'm intrigued. Tell me more.
As we delve deeper
Yeah.
into the film's themes and execution,
Right.
Sarah and Mike specifically mentioned
Yeah.
that the ending was a highlight for them. Sweet and uplifting,
Oh.
which is a refreshing change
Yeah.
from the bleak endings often found in post-apocalyptic movies.
Right. Usually it's like doom and gloom.
Right.
This is a little different.
It is.
Okay.
And that brings us to one of the key questions
Okay.
Sarah and Mike pose.
Hmm.
Does the movie's embrace of familiar tropes
Right.
enhance its enjoyment,
Okay.
or does it detract from its originality?
That's a great question.
It is.
And one worth pondering.
It is.
As we continue our deep dive.
Yes.
It reminds me of another horror comedy,
Oh, yeah.
Shaun of the Dead.
Oh, that's a good one.
Have you seen that one?
Oh, yeah. I love that movie.
Both of them kind of cleverly subvert genre expectations,
Yes.
but in very different ways.
They do.
Yeah.
Exploring those parallels could offer some valuable insights
For sure.
into what makes Night of the Living Dead stand out.
Yeah, let's do it.
But before we get ahead ourselves,
Okay.
I think it's time to dig deeper.
All right, let's go deeper into those themes.
Yeah.
And really unpack
Oh.
what this movie is trying to say.
What's the message?
Well, for starters,
Yeah.
I think it offers a surprisingly insightful commentary
Okay.
on human connection
Okay.
and resilience
Uh-huh.
in the face of adversity.
Mm-hmm.
Even amidst a zombie apocalypse,
Yeah.
the characters find moments of joy,
Okay.
love, and even hope.
That's interesting.
It is,
Like a little glimmer of light
yes.
in this dark world.
Yes.
That's a-
Powerful message.
It is.
Especially in today's world
Yeah.
where it's easy to feel overwhelmed
Totally.
by negativity and uncertainty.
Right.
So it's almost as if the film is reminding us
Mm-hmm.
that even in the darkest of times,
Yeah.
the human spirit can endure,
Yeah.
adapt, and even find reasons to laugh.
Right. Find those little moments of joy.
Exactly.
Yeah. That's great.
I think that's a great point.
Yeah.
The film isn't just about surviving a zombie apocalypse.
Mm.
It's about surviving as humans,
Mm.
with all our complexities and contradictions.
I like that. And that's where the film's unique blend
Yeah,
of humor and horror
Yeah.
really comes into play.
it does.
You know, it's not just about cheap laughs or jump scares.
Right.
The humor serves as almost like a coping mechanism,
Yeah.
a way for the characters
Right.
and maybe even for us as viewers
Yeah.
to process the absurdity and terror of their situation.
It's like the film is saying, hey, even in the midst of a zombie apocalypse,
Yeah.
it's okay to find moments of levity, to laugh at the absurdity of it all.
Right.
In fact, it might be essential to our survival.
I think you're right.
I think so too.
And this brings us back to Deb.
Yes.
You know,
Yeah.
you mentioned earlier
Mm-hmm.
that the Underrated Gems hosts
Yeah.
found her relatable.
They did?
Do you think her humor, her clumsiness, her ability to find lightness,
Yeah.
even in these dire circumstances,
Absolutely.
contributes to that relatability?
I think so.
Okay.
She's not some superhuman action hero.
Right.
She's just
Yeah.
an average person
Mm-hmm.
trying to navigate an extraordinary situation the best
Yeah.
she can.
And most of us, I think,
Yeah.
would probably be just as clumsy and awkward if
never
we
knew.
found ourselves,
For sure.
you know, face to face with a horde of zombies.
Yeah.
It's true.
I think that's a key insight.
Yeah.
The film doesn't try to present us
Right.
with these unrealistic heroes
Yeah.
or overly stylized action sequences.
Right.
It keeps things grounded,
Yeah.
relatable,
Uh-huh.
which allows the humor to land more effectively.
Yeah. And I think that makes it more enjoyable, too.
I think so too.
It's almost like the film
Mhm.
is inviting us to laugh at ourselves.
Yeah.
To find the humor in our own imperfections.
I love that.
Yeah.
And that's where the film's commentary on societal expectations
Oh, okay. Interested.
comes into play. Deb, at the start of the film,
Yeah.
is struggling to fit in
Okay.
to meet those expectations.
Yeah.
The zombie apocalypse, in a strange way,
Yeah.
liberates her from those constraints.
Wow. I like that.
It does.
That's a really interesting take. So
Yeah.
it's like the apocalypse is almost like a
Yeah.
catalyst for personal growth.
Yeah.
Stripping away those layers of society.
It does.
Forcing her to confront her true nature.
Yes.
Interesting.
It is.
It's a theme we see in a lot of
We do.
post-apocalyptic narratives.
We do.
But I like how Night of the Living Dead approaches it with
Yeah.
like a lighter,
Yeah.
more comedic touch.
Right. It's not this heavy-handed message
Yeah.
about the evils of society or the
Well,
collapse of civilization.
It's not like a preachy kind of thing.
It's not.
I
It's
know.
more about finding yourself,
Well,
embracing
no.
your individuality,
Yeah.
even in the most absurd and chaotic of circumstances.
I like that a lot.
I do too.
It's a good message.
It is. And that's where I think the ending
Yeah.
becomes really significant.
Yeah.
You mentioned that Sarah and Mike from Underrated Gems praised the endings.
Yeah.
Sweetness and optimism.
They did.
How do you think that ending
Mm-hmm.
contributes to the film's overall message?
Well, I think it just reinforces the idea
Okay.
that even in a world ravaged by zombies,
Yeah.
there's still hope. There's still room for love and connection.
It's not all doom and gloom.
No, it's not a bleak ending.
Yeah.
It's a celebration of human resilience,
Okay.
a reminder
Yeah.
that even in the face of unimaginable adversity, we can find moments of joy and beauty.
Yeah, I like that.
I do too.
And, you know, it kind of ties back to what we've been talking about, like
yeah.
the film's subversion of
yeah.
genre expectations.
Yeah.
You know, we expect zombie movies to
Yeah.
be dark, depressing.
Right. Full of despair.
Yeah. Like, there's no hope for humanity. And this one kind of turns that on its head. It does.
It's like, no, there's still good.
Yes.
There's still love. There's
Yes.
still connection.
Yes.
Even in the midst of all this chaos.
Yes.
And that's what makes this film so refreshing.
It really is.
It's not just a zombie movie.
It's not.
It's a film about
Yeah.
human resilience.
Yeah.
About finding joy in those unexpected places,
Yeah.
embracing our imperfections,
Yeah.
and finding connection even in these absurd situations.
Yeah.
It's a film that reminds us that laughter, love, and hope
Yeah.
can bloom even in the midst of a zombie apocalypse.
So true. Okay, so we've explored a lot.
We have.
The humor, the horror,
Mm-hmm.
the surprisingly deep themes
Yeah.
that are kind of lurking beneath the surface of
Yeah.
Night of the Living Dead.
Right.
But let's get back to that
Yeah.
lingering question.
Okay.
Does the film's embrace of familiar tropes
Right.
ultimately enhance or detract
Yeah. Does it help or hurt?
from its overall impact?
That's the question, isn't it?
It is. On the one hand,
Yeah.
familiarity can breed comfort.
It can.
You know, we know how zombie movies go.
Right.
We anticipate certain things,
Right. We've seen it before.
certain scares and tropes.
Right.
And that can be enjoyable.
It can.
You know, just like
Yeah.
revisiting a favorite story.
Yeah. It's like slipping into a comfortable pair of jeans.
Exactly.
You know what to expect.
Yeah.
And sometimes that's exactly what you want.
Right. Sometimes you just want something familiar, something cozy.
Yes.
But does Night of the Living Dead just rehash
Right. Is it just the same old,
those familiar elements?
Yeah.
Or does it do something more?
Right. Does it bring something new to the table?
And I think that's where this film's cleverness lies.
Okay. Tell me more.
It takes those familiar tropes,
Okay.
the awkward protagonist,
Right.
the unexpected romance,
Yeah.
the quirky supporting characters,
Uh-huh.
and it infuses them
Okay.
with this fresh perspective,
Okay.
this unique sense of humor, and this really heartfelt message about human connection.
So it's like taking that comfortable pair of jeans
Yes,
and adding some stylish patches.
Yes.
Maybe some embroidery.
I like that analogy.
Yeah.
It's like you're still getting the comfort
You
and
are.
the familiarity,
Mm-hmm.
but with that extra layer of personality
Excellent.
and flair.
So for you, the listener,
Yeah.
question remains.
Okay.
Does predictability in a genre film
Okay.
enhance your enjoyment?
Mm-hmm.
Or do you crave something totally new
Yeah.
and groundbreaking?
You want to be surprised.
Yeah. Do you want something completely different?
It depends. Right.
There's no right or wrong answer here.
Totally. It's all subjective.
It's all personal preference.
Exactly. What are you in the mood for?
Right.
Some people might find those familiar tropes
Yeah.
comforting and reassuring,
They might.
and others might be like,
Yeah.
I've seen this before.
Give me something new.
Give me something different.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's why we love doing these deep dives.
I agree.
We want to offer you, the listener,
Yeah.
a chance to explore films
Yeah.
that might have slipped under your radar.
That you might have missed.
Films that offer a unique perspective,
Yeah.
a fresh take on familiar themes,
Yeah.
and perhaps even a few surprises along the way.
Exactly.
So if you're in the mood for a zombie flick,
Okay.
that's as heartwarming
Yeah.
as it is hilarious.
Oh.
A film that embraces the familiar
Yeah.
while still offering something fresh and insightful.
Yeah.
Night of the Living Dead might be just what you need.
Give it a watch.
Give it a shot.
Let us know what you think.
And that concludes our deep dive
Awesome.
into Night of the Living Deb.
Loved it.
Until next time,
Yeah.
keep exploring, keep questioning,
Keep learning.
and keep those popcorn buckets full.
Absolutely.